What's going on, YouTube? How you doing? Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that good stuff. I gotta come clean with you guys. I feel like I gotta come clean here with this because I've been telling my Twitch audience this, but I haven't kept you guys in the loop. And so now's the time I decided to time to let you guys know what's going on. So I want to be upfront and honest with you guys about some things that I have not been very happy about, and I want to be completely upfront and honest, no pulling no punches, just being 100% with it. That being said, let's start here. I have been telling the stream as of recent that I intend to actually switch content. What that entails is me playing more Apex, probably some more Valorant, probably some more Halo. In fact, more of all three of those games, if not more, Valorant and Apex, with Apex being the leader, right? So lately, things in terms of fighting games have been very, I guess you could say, down bad for me. Not that things haven't been growing here on the YouTube channel, that's not the case. That's actually far from the case, to be honest with you. Things here have been okay. I really can't complain about things here, but it's more along the lines of how the companies have been handling like the games. And I will say this really briefly. I know what you're probably thinking, hold on a second, you were hyped about Project L. I still am. I want to let you guys know that I am still very much so excited for Project L, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. But this is all off the cuff, off top of my dome, by the way, so this is gonna be a little all over the place, but I just want to be candid with it, no script, let's just get it. Anyway, moving on, it's just along the lines of just I've been very disgruntled lately with what's happening with Arcsys. I'm not the happiest right now with how the Arc Tour has been from the very first one till now. Playing Guilty Gear on PC and then playing Guilty Gear on PS4, base PS4 for that matter, is just too jarring of a difference as far as I'm concerned. I get it, there are other players who are, have no problem going between PC and PS4, but I feel like the most enjoyable experience for me to play the game is to play on PC, and for a multitude of reasons. Obviously, number one is the input latency is just so much better on PC, so I'd much rather deal with a 1 frame of input delay, aka perfect inputs, versus 4 frame delay, which is very frustrating. Now I get it, there's PS4 Pro and there's PS5, but I'm going to get to that in a second. It's very obvious that getting your hands on a PS5 is very difficult. Getting your hands on a PS4 Pro is also difficult. And to think that I have to purchase, one or the other to compete really sucks. And even then, the standard is still pretty much base PS4, while people still prefer to play, PS4 Pro. But let's just be honest, once again, the PS5s are scarce, the PS4 Pros are scarce. So tournament standards are pretty, to be upfront with you, shitty. I don't blame the TOs, mind you. It's not really their fault. It's more of a fault on the developers for, kind of having it this way, unfortunately. However, I just can't be bothered to be traveling or playing in, these tournaments, knowing that knowing I'm not playing on the game version that gives me the best experience. And it's not just me. I'm sure there's many other players that feel like sort of the same. Again, there's probably a mixed bag with this, but I cannot lie about how I personally feel about playing the game. And with that, it's frustrating for me in particular to play a character like Chip, and even Jackal for that matter, and just the game as a whole, knowing that things like instant block exist, and the mechanic in itself is a 2 frame window. Sure, they made the input window a little bit bigger in terms of the buffer, but the issue still remains that it does feel very different to do it on PlayStation, base PS4 for that matter, than it does on PC. Now, to some, instant block may seem like a mechanic where you shouldn't be using, or it's kind of like it's impractical, when that's not the case. I've developed many punishes, many things that you guys probably honestly just haven't seen here on YouTube, because I sit here in the lab and I do it either on stream or I do it by myself and see things for myself, and it's like, man, these things are really strong and really good. I'd love to practice these in matches, and I do them a lot in matches, but on PC. Oh! That felt good. Oh, that felt good. Man, Kensou. Nice instant blocks, bro. Nice instant block in the super, bro. Good shit. So it doesn't make any sense for me to plan anything but PC, knowing I'm getting the best experience for the game. So again, I don't see any reason for me to travel at the moment. With that being said, that also brings in PC tournaments. While I'm all for it, my gripe still remains is that there could be something I could do better with my time than sitting here waiting for these tournaments. And now this time I am kind of clapping on some of the TOs, and there's others. It's not all of them, right? But like when you're running an event and it takes like 8 hours because you want to stream all of top 48 on one stream, I'm sorry, but fuck that. I have something. Excuse my French, but like, I'm sorry. Like, bump that, dude. Like, I can do something better with my time than to sit here and wait for my match. You know, even if I am streaming or whatever, like it just takes too much time. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen in offline events, but it's a lot different in an offline environment versus an online environment. You know, I'm at home, anything can happen. You know, versus I'm out of state. You know, and while sure anything can happen, it's also, you know, I've already planned to be here, etc., etc. Whereas sure I've planned here. I don't know, just a multitude of things can happen. You know, my dog can start throwing up in between, like in the middle of a match. You know what I'm saying? You know, anything can happen. Anything can happen. You know, I can get robbed in the middle of a match. You know what I mean? Like, you just never know what can happen while you're at home. And I know these are extreme cases that I'm bringing up, but it's still, I could be doing something better with my time, you know? So it's no knock on those who want to do that, but my time is different from everyone else's because I'm a content creator, I'm a streamer, YouTuber, whatever, TikTok, all that, you know? I'm trying to do social media, and like, my time can't be, I can't spend 8 hours waiting for this and this one day when I gotta edit content, you know, and I'm my own editor, you know. As you guys know, I have no editor, you know. I do everything on my own. All the videos you see that are edited here, they're all made by me. If you didn't know that, now you know. So I can't be bothered to sit here and waste time with online events. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. I'm saying as a content creator, I can't be bothered to sit here and do that. Not without an editor. And that isn't a call to action for any of you editors out there. I'm still very much so comfortable in my own skin, editing my own stuff. No worries. I appreciate it. You know, I love you guys. Anyway, so those things have been frustrated, and those things have pretty much frustrated me. In addition to, you know, how the company has been handling their games. I mentioned, you know, the Pro Tour is just, that is just, it's just so bad how they're handling it, you know. Like, I get it, you know, having a desire to play it on PC is huge. And I think that a big part of the problem I also see is the community in itself isn't really, from what I can tell, isn't really fighting to play on PC. They're just kind of okay and comfortable in their own skin, just kind of going back and forth in between two versions. Now, I have had to do this in Xrd to play online, to be able to play with good connections and then switch between the PlayStation version to play for tournament and then PC. But it's like, this version already exists, and not like it was like that for Xrd already, but we already came up with the tournament standard for that, you know, years ago. But I think that now is the time to actually try to do something different with it, and I've presented many different things to make these tournaments better and try running PC instead. But, you know, I get it, TOs feel some kind of way about it, etc., etc. And that kind of comes to the next part I have with it, is developer run events, which I would love to see that, you know, but I don't really think that's going to really happen. You know, sure, again, we got the Pro Tour for Arcsys, but, you know, they're still not running it on the best, in my opinion, the best version is PC, and gives you the best experience for the game. And we're not being able to play on that, and I think that sucks. It's just so bad. But, yeah. I just feel like the way that honestly, this is also kind of a love letter to the Japanese developers as well. It's like, honestly, like, you guys are really great at making the games and stuff like that, but like, support, you know, towards the community is really bad. You know, like, I think we're in 2021 going into 2022, and like, there's no Twitch drops for Guilty Gear. Why is that? There's no Twitch drops for Tekken. Why is that? There's no Twitch drops for freaking Street Fighter. Why is that? All these big name fighting games don't even have Twitch drops yet, you know. And obviously I'm mostly a Guilty Gear player, right? But I still support fighting games. So I have to ask myself, why is it that in Guilty Gear's case, which they did have a Twitch Rivals for, where is that? You know, why is that not there? Why is there not like a Twitch exclusive, you know, skin palette or color palette for the entire roster? Why doesn't that exist? You know, in addition to that, which I will talk about Twitch Rivals, which I'm just gonna be honest with you, that was ran very shitty. And I don't think that has much to do with Twitch, but that's Twitch Japan. Like, not really Twitch USA, but Twitch Japan. I was really upset at that event. One, I'm not gonna lie to you, obviously I didn't play in it, which felt pretty shitty, knowing that I'd been streaming Guilty Gear for so long on Twitch. Again, I'm not sure. I don't think that's necessarily, you know, I don't know how to explain it, but that, let's just say that frustrated the shit out of me, knowing that I'd spent all this time on Twitch, you know, streaming it, sharing the game with people, teaching people how to play, you know, day in, day out, answering the same questions day in, day out, to get overlooked by people who don't actually fucking play the game. I'm sorry, that really was very disturbing. Meanwhile, on the Japanese side of things, these are all people who actually play the game, with the exception of Clearlamp, who wasn't very good at the time. Meanwhile, everyone else was fairly good on the Japanese side of things. So while I know they kind of sort of had it on their side too, I think it was a little too much on the USA side. And it's like, it kind of like, that kind of brought me down. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it really did bring me down. But yeah, like, just, that was just bad, poorly ran, no American commentary. Just don't even understand what was the purpose of this then. You know, if you had no intention of doing American commentary, which was bad, you know, it should have been a joint operation between Twitch America and Twitch Japan to showcase the game with these players, even if I wasn't included in it, right? I still think the overall presentation of it was bad, like across the board. Moving forward, yeah, I just don't understand why the developers, you know, just don't have these things integrated. Yet you see games like League of Legends, Apex, you know, Tarkov, you know, I can name a slew of games right now that have Twitch drops, and not a single fighting game has one. And I have to ask myself, like, exactly what's going on here? Like, why is that not a thing? Like, I get it, maybe there's some exclusivity contracts, maybe there's some money discrepancies, you know, sure, you know, I don't really know, but the fact that these things don't exist is really infuriating. And seeing even smaller games getting that kind of support on Twitch is like befuddling. And again, I have to ask myself, well, why am I in this space if these developers can't even offer them? I will be real with this too, and I want to make a disclaimer with this, because I think I will probably get some flack for this, but I'm gonna just keep it real, because I think I owe it to you guys to keep it real, because I'm not gonna sit here and tell you everything is like I'm not gonna sit here and tell you everything is like sweet, you know. Like, I want to criticize the RDC World collaboration with Arcsys for Guilty Gear. Now, I'm gonna again open up with, there is no hatred towards RDC World whatsoever. I've watched plenty of their videos on my stream, and we've all laughed at all of them, and they're all great. You know, I personally love RDC World, you know what I'm saying? But while this isn't necessarily a fault on them, but it's more of a fault on Arcsys for the event in itself. The event in itself was the Christmas showdown with the RDC World guys playing the game. Now, while I think that that's cool in itself, I would have preferred, if that was the case, that they would have made a YouTube skit surrounding the game and doing something cool within their normal wheel well, which I think would have been very awesome to see, because, I mean, seriously, they've done some really funny skits with the anime stuff, so it only makes sense, right? Maybe instead of it being like the anime house, it could have been Guilty Gear house, right? Where they could have portrayed themselves as Guilty Gear characters and did like a nice little promotion, right? But that wasn't the case, right? Not the case. So instead, it was just them streaming the game, playing amongst themselves, and just kind of sort of having fun. And it got some viewership, which was good, but I think that it was done poorly. Again, not a fault on them, but a fault on Arcsys, to where they could have made it to where it could have been an actual event where you had an invitational of maybe 4 players, and they do like, you know, first to 5 or something along those lines, showcase the game for what it actually is, and have RDC World actually do commentary over it, and then maybe do a small segment of the RDC World players maybe getting coached by someone while they're playing, you know, against one of their homies, maybe through Discord or something like that. And you could have had a little bit more of a spectacle to watch for people on that channel, because it was great that it was on that channel, and it could have generated more. In addition to that, they also had a 35% off little coupon thing or whatever that they had, a promo code that they had down there for an influencer campaign. So when you put all that together, right, I have to ask myself, as someone who worked in marketing, you know, for my actual job, and I always put this out there as a disclaimer, you know, I did work in marketing. That campaign in itself is a good idea, but it was done not the best. That 35% coupon thing or whatever that they had there for PSN could have been distributed towards many players across the community. What does that lead for me to believe? That the marketing side of Arcsys is kind of poop. that shows that they didn't do actual community research. They just chose people who actually had numbers. And while that's fine, I think that you could have done both. You could have used, the marketing side of RDC World, and then you could have included the community as a part of that thing as well. Maybe there's some that they don't see that as like, they don't think too much of it because they're like, oh, it's whatever. But the idea around that campaign, if you will, is to, raise more awareness of Guilty Gear and kind of showcase what the game is really about. I understand maybe to some degree seeing the game at high level might throw some people off, but then again, some people like to see the game at high level and just kind of see where they could potentially get to and be like, man, that was pretty cool, and that could have also driven more traffic towards the players in the community to help them grow as well with the game. You see what I'm saying? Which is something that happens across the board with many other games. Like I've seen with Apex, where they've gaslit a lot of players through videos, through lighting them up on Twitter, giving them specific Twitch drops, their channels in particular, like doing things like that to promote the people who actually play their game, because they play the game and they help market the game for them. So not only are they helping the people within the community, aka the streamer, they're also helping the people within their community, which is the overall arching community, right? So they help this. So just so you know how this, this works, just to bring it back again, you're supporting the content creator, right? And then you're giving things for the content creator to distribute amongst the content creators community, right? This way everyone's happy, right? So at that point, one has to ask, why is it that that was not available for the other people who are already actually in the community? What that leads me to believe, as someone who works in marketing, is that their PR did absolutely zero market research on who's actually in the community. They could have looked at anyone from Twitch, anyone from YouTube, and see who's who and what's what, and then find ways to help them market through videos, to help them market through the streams, use that 35%, whatever they had there, to help push the game and get more eyes on and get more players. It makes sense, but that wasn't the case. So again, while this, I want to make sure I say it again, this is not hatred. This is an objective look and me being critical on what was done during this marketing campaign. Okay, so seeing all of that, it just turned me off. In addition, not to mention the most recent thing, Persona 4 Ultimax not getting rollback in there too, is just like, okay, man, never before seen the newest version 2.5 or 2.1 where they had in the arcade or whatever. Okay, cool. But you're going to introduce that version with no rollback, but you're out here throwing Blaze Blue at me and BB, you're throwing Blaze Blue CF and you're throwing BB Tag at us. It's like with rollback. It doesn't make sense, Like, you have to make it make sense, Arcsys. It doesn't add up, One can say it's Atlas and they're just going to buy it anyway. Sure. But you mean to tell me your idea now is we're going to add it later? Like that kind of stuff to me just leads to just, why do I even bother? As someone that supported Arcsys for a very, very long time, it just doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense. So I've been high key just looking, taking a step back and looking at the tournament scene, the companies and how they're going about things, and then I'm also doing compare and contrast towards what they're doing on this side, the West, from the esports side, which kind of sort of come back to Arc Tour again. Sorry, this is for like the third time, but I have to ask myself, like, how is it that, like, I can't give you a buddy pass on not knowing esports despite it being new in Japan, when you could do market research, when it's very clear you have Korea, you have China, you can look at the US, you can do market research and see what's exactly going on. So when I see, the mistakes that Arc is making, it's just kind of like, you guys literally are doing zero market research. Like, you're good at making the games, but you're not good at supporting the thing that people want outside of just the games, the competitive aspect. Obviously, you can make a fun game and stuff like that. You can make a fun and, competitive game, but the tournament scene and things like that, like, you're still letting the community handle it. And it's just like, what exactly are you guys doing? And it kind of goes for Namco, that kind of goes for Capcom, that goes for all the JP devs. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, are you actually paying attention to what they're doing for esports? Are you actually paying attention to how these other games support the community? Like, it doesn't make sense. It actually doesn't make sense to me. to me, it's like I would rather these guys make an effort to support the community past just making the game, past just like making a rinky-dink pro tour, letting just the community handle it and being hands off. You know, I'm not even gonna talk about my experience in Arc Revo, because that's a whole nother can of worms I'm not even gonna bother opening, right? But I just feel like it just feels so hands off. You know, like these are the people playing your game, and you're not showing proper care outside of balanced patches and adding characters that fans want. That's cool, your fan service, but like support the content creators. The content creators are half the reason why people even play your games. And it's kind of ironic, you know, it's just befuddling how the Western developers get it, but Japan doesn't. And it's, like I said, it's just downright infuriating at this point. So where does that leave me moving forward? Well, I'm still gonna play fighting games, but I think for this channel, I'm not gonna do too much more fighting game content unless I feel like it. And I get it, maybe to some of you guys, that's not what you're here for. You know, you're not here for me to switch it up and do something else. And I'll be honest with you, if it's something that bothers you, that's okay. I'll be okay. You know, my goal now is to move into games that have actual developer support. You know, and I don't see Riot not supporting their game whenever Project L comes out, which now I'm going to talk about that. I will still make content surrounding things like Project L up until release and when it gets released, because I'm fully aware that Riot will take care of that game. You know, I understand some people may feel some type of way about Riot or what have you, but like, one has to wonder as a competitor and a long-time fighting game player how a game like Guilty Gear Strive, you know, before coming out and even on release, no major sponsor, you know, or no major esports team was looking for players. I'm not saying players haven't got picked up in recent times, but it took 6 to 7 months for that to finally happen. Whereas you had people like G2 Esports and a few other companies or organizations, excuse me, who were like, hey, who are we gonna pick up for Project L? You know, on the strength of a video just showing you what the game is about. It's kind of crazy. And I saw that same thing even happen for Valorant as well. So these orgs are already on board with this game. It's not even out yet. Yet we have games like DNF and stuff like that that are on the way. We have KOF and stuff like that that's on the way. Guilty Gear that's already out, and like not one org was like that. Again, it doesn't mean other players haven't got picked up, you know, but like there's also a difference in the tiers of that as well. You know, Red Bull's like a tier 1, you know, G2 Esports tier 1, you know, 100 Thieves tier 1. Like, and I'm not taking a dump on anyone who's got a sponsor, right, or have some type of org behind them. I'm saying there's a clear difference in between regular fighting game orgs and like people that do League of Legends and Dota. It's not hard to tell. I'm not pulling any punches here. I'm not lying. You can see it for yourself. You know, the proof is in the pudding. You know, there's not enough of that in the FGC, and I think that's terrible. So going back to it, yeah, where does that leave me? Yeah, I intend to do more content surrounding Apex and most likely Valorant. I'll be putting most likely those two games here on the channel. I'll sneak in some fighting game stuff in between, but I just don't want to be pigeonholed to fighting games anymore, like at least in the YouTube space. It'll still be here, but it'll be to a lesser degree. It took a lot of like soul searching to figure out whether or not I should make a new channel, start over, and start up something fresh. I think I've already kind of sort of got you guys here, so I would love it if you were to support me moving forward in my endeavors. But if you don't see the need to, as I said earlier, you know, it's okay. I'm not going to be mad if you choose to unsubscribe. It is what it is. You know, there's tons of other channels that can support, you know, the things that you want to watch, but I just don't want to be pigeonholed to fighting games anymore, at least at this current point in time, because I feel like I can use my current skills and my current prowess in other genres to push myself and see myself in a better position, because as it stands right now, it just feels like it's like crabs in a bucket for me. You know, like I've been working so hard at this, and while we have seen growth here on this channel and even the Twitch, it's just, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I want more. Like I want to be able to sustain myself even better. You know, I'm sustaining myself okay, to be honest, but I want to be more than this. I see that there's more to content creation than just teaching you guys Guilty Gear. You know, I want to be on this channel really more myself and show you guys more of what I'm into. And I understand that variety channel on YouTube can be difficult, but I do believe that I owe it to myself to show you guys how really creative I actually am outside of just, you know, tutorial content and just kind of showing you my gameplay. You know, there's things like montages and stuff like that that I'd like to do. I'd love to show you guys more stuff about RPGs, make this channel more about me and less about Guilty Gear, and a little less about just fighting games. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like me and my journey moving forward from fighting games, which is why I came up with, you know, from Guilty Gear to Apex, and why I did the coffee series, because like I want my channel to have more than just Guilty Gear, more than just KOF and whatnot, you know. And I guess I could throw this out here too, you know, I have a video lined up already about like my thoughts about the KOF beta, but I just didn't even want to release it, you know, just because of just how I feel right now about fighting games. So moving forward, that's essentially where I intend to go. You know, like I said, I do feel kind of, it is honestly scary to change this channel into something else, but I feel like I have to evolve, and if I don't evolve, I feel like I'm just gonna keep spinning my wheels, and that's not something I want to. That's not something I want to do. I want to be in a better position, and I'd like to be in an area where developers support their games and people just enjoy the stuff that I do. You know, so yeah, I think that's pretty much gonna do it. As I mentioned in the beginning, I just didn't want to leave you guys in the dark. You know, I've been kind of quiet about certain developments, you know, but you know, this is kind of where my headspace is at. It's kind of what I want to do now. I have nothing but the confidence, you know, moving forward into the, you know, the new year with, you know, my endeavors and my projects and what I want to actually do, you know, for the future of YouTube, my future content. So yeah, just want you guys to know, I don't want to just change content on you guys and have you guys like, what is this Kensou guy doing? Why did you change all this stuff up? Where's all the Guilty Gear stuff? I don't understand. Everything was all good. What happened? No, this is why, you know. And who knows, maybe I'll make another video to accompany this to kind of speak more on it. Maybe I don't think I have to, but yeah, this video is a big rant. It's a big ramble. There's a lot of things kind of scattered, but hey, all good. This is where we're at. This is what we're gonna do. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it here. I think this is a good stopping point. I don't want to take up too much more of you guys' time. Just want to be crystal clear with you guys. So I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care.